Okay, I know we look the same, almost the same. We took a break, had dinner, and I threw a different sweater on. But it's a time-sensitive topic we're going to talk about. But um, if you're wondering where we are, we didn't really say in the last video. We're actually in our top floor suite, and we have a couch up here. We just thought it'd be a nice change of scenery for us and you.
And this is where we were set up, and we thought, hey, we're just set it up here. And by the way, if you hear the noise, that is wind blowing. We're getting some wind. We did have some cold weather. We got snow already. Not as bad as last year where we got 34 inches on October 10th, but we did get a couple inches, and now it's warming back up to 60 this week.
Which is amazing.
Which is good. That's good.
So what you're hearing is we've got a couple branches rubbing against the house right here, and a couple of pieces on our roof are about to fall off, which hopefully this week we're going to be tearing our roof off.
Which we'll video as well, but the wind's blowing, and that's the noise you'll hear in the background.
Yeah.
But our time-sensitive subject matter, and it seems like there's more pressure. I saw a Facebook post where it's showed a guy pinned to the wall with somebody's hand and to his neck, and it says, did you see that?
No, I didn't.
And it said, every time I get onto the internet, what I find, are you registered to vote? Somebody pinned into the wall saying that. So voting is...
it's the topic of conversation right now.
It's the peer pressure of conversation right now. So we thought we'd talk about that, and in two different ways, both from the secular standpoint and also from the biblical standpoint, and whether or not we're going to vote. Mm-hmm. So under the secular standpoint, there's basically three different areas.
1.
Propaganda. This year, for the presidential election, the two candidates are going to spend over $1 billion in advertising for the presidency. And for the entire election process, all candidates are shooting for over $11 billion. $11 billion in advertising. Now, just let that sink in for a minute here. Why do we know that Dawn cuts grease out of your way?
Or conversely, why do we know Palmolive softens your hands while you do dishes?
Why do we know these catchphrases?
Just do it.
Finger licking good.
But you can't eat just one. I knew we should have grabbed those Lay's chips from the store.
This is starting to sound kind of dirty, though, so we better stop. But can you hear me now? You see, we know these things not because we tested and tried them out ourselves, but because advertisers repeatedly tell us it's so. So we begin to believe it.
In short, it works.
Of course, there's nothing wrong with reminding someone repeatedly of a certain truth in repetition. The Bible's full of such accounts of repetition. But when that repetition is used to browbeat you with an idea without proof, it becomes manipulative propaganda brainwashing.
And as Jehovah's Witnesses, we perhaps know more than anyone this browbeating brainwashing of some unproven doctrine of old light they expected you to believe without question or proof, even though that doctrine may change in the future.
As such, how many of these $11 billion worth of ads are totally truthful? Now more than ever, we can see the bias even on what was previously, at least thought previously, to be unbiased news channels. And we can see which party they support quite obviously now. If that's the case, how are you getting correct information in order to make your educated decision?
Or are you just voting the way someone else wants you to think?
But let's hypothetically say you're able to put all that aside and sift through all of it and just make a truthfully educated decision based on your own facts that you're able to come up with somehow.
2.
It's easy to think that this is an important election and we've got to be involved in it. And so much so, look around us. More people are voting than ever.
But really, isn't that just a statement that shows the devaluation of your vote?
To illustrate, think about playing the lottery where there's only one winner, the old lottery, not to where the winnings were divided up, but just one winner. Let's say there's a $1 million prize. After several weeks, nobody wins the lottery, and now that prize is $100 million. The importance of the lottery increased 100-fold. And as a reflection of that, the number of people that participate goes up 100-fold. Did that increase of participation increase your chances or decrease your chances of winning? Likewise, if more people vote, does that increase the chances of your vote making a difference or decrease it?
3.
But really, it's just not as simple as a simple numbers game. Do you live in a state that is considered a safe state?
In other words, does the state you live in historically vote one way or the other, either historically Democrat or Republican?
I think they call that a deep blue state or a deep red state.
Yeah.
To illustrate, North Dakota has voted Republican since 1968. If someone votes Democratic here, what are the odds those Democratic votes are going to get North Dakota's 3 electoral votes?
Or if you're in California voting Republican, what are the odds that California is going to vote Republican?
To that point, what is gerrymandering? Now, usually we speak of gerrymandering in the context of local elections, and you can look that up if you don't know what gerrymandering means. But if we just zoom out a little bit, we can see that your presidential vote actually doesn't even count because it's the Electoral College that votes for the president.
And no, they're not required to vote for who the people vote for.
And historically speaking, it's happened 157 times that an Electoral College elector has not voted with what the voters said. As a case in point, did you know that in New York, Hillary Clinton is an elector on the New York Electoral College? If it would happen, just for the sake of argument, that New Yorkers decided to vote Republican, what are the odds that she would vote for Donald Trump? Since there are only 2 states that can split the Electoral College votes, doesn't this speak of how certain Hillary Clinton is that New York's 29 electoral votes will vote Democratic? Principally speaking, how is this not a systemic form of gerrymandering?
So if you are one of the voters that are voting against the grain in these safe states, how does your vote mean anything? Voting has about as much effect as the annual election in the congregation for the secretary and other congregational corporation offices. They narrow it down by nominating who they want you to vote for.
Voting is kind of like commenting. At the meeting, it makes you feel involved so that you inadvertently are actually supporting their hierarchy. And they know where your stand is now, but it really doesn't change the way things are. So now let's transition to biblically speaking. The scriptures speak about Christians being ambassadors substituting for Christ.
So when an ambassador is in another country, do they run for office in that foreign country they're in, or even vote for officers in that country?
It's funny, we were actually doing a roof for somebody else in town, and he asked us our stand on voting and why we didn't vote. And we were talking to him, and I kind of used that analogy with him. Do you believe that as Daniel and both Daniel and Isaiah spoke about, that Christ's coming kingdom was a real government? Do you believe that that's a real government now for Christians? And he said, yes, he did. And I said, well, speaking of Swiffer's meandering around.
Come on.
The wind's really blowing out there.
I hope it rips our roof off so we don't have to.
No, we don't have to turn it off then.
Exactly.
But going back to that point, is Christ's kingdom for Christians a real government now, as that Daniel and what Isaiah both prophesied about? Is it a real kingdom? And he said yes. And I said, well, if you are an ambassador substituting for Christ, as the scriptures say Christians are to be, can you vote for or get involved in the elections of that nation? And he said, no. And I said, especially since Revelation speaks of the kings of this world being in opposition to that government. What do they call that if you are an ambassador and you vote for you try to get involved in the politics of the nation that you're supposed to be advocating your government to? And he said, well, in some cases that would be treason. So he got it right. It's treasonous to get involved of the politics when you are an ambassador, because you're there to advocate for your government, the nation that you're from. It's true, you have to obey the laws of the land and whatever else of the nation you're in, but you don't get involved in their politics.
Jesus also told a ruler of his day that his kingdom was no part of the world.
And at least twice it was attempted to make Jesus king, once by the people and once by Satan himself.
And both times Jesus declined.
It's interesting. He said that his kingdom was no part of this world. In this nation, they'll claim, the saying goes, of the people, by the people, for the people. In other words, the people elected to office are of those people. They are elected by those people into office to make laws for those people. And I used to use this in the ministry all the time. And I'd go to the door and we'd talk about this subject matter, and I'd ask, so by and large, in general, when you look at the world today, do you see people growing closer to God and his standards, or falling away from them? And, often they'd agree that, and quite honestly, almost unanimously, they'd agree, if they were Bible readers, that people are not drawing closer to God. And look at the laws that have been enacted, at least in this country, repeatedly. The laws show that fact, because it's of the people, by the people, for those people to live by those rules. It's funny, if you look up the definition of morality, morality is dependent on what the mass decides. So if the mass decides their own morality and they're not drawing close to God, the laws are going to reflect that. And that's what we see.
So for us, both secularly and biblically, we don't see the point of voting.
But that's us.
You do you.
For our end, we'll just continue with our restoration project.
Yep.
Enjoy.
Tiffany's taking her first drive in the Anglia. Why?
It's really hard to steer.
Well, of course, it's no power steering, plus the tires are low. Yep, let's do that, and then before you take it out. Yep. Okay. That's stupid. There we go.
You're gonna really make me do this?
Make you? What do you mean?
I don't want to drive this yet.
Why? Of course, I understand why, because I literally,
I'm so nervous.
I got it in this thing and I drove it off the trailer into the back. That was it.
I'm so nervous. I'm confused.
Go ahead, let her rip.
Oh my god.
You drove it from the back up here.
That's different. I didn't drive on the street.
Pump it up.
Why is it being so difficult? Why is this thing not staying running now?
It's got to warm up.
It was warmed up.
You didn't die and it didn't die.
I didn't die.
And it didn't die.
No, it did not.
So, Tiffany's washing her Mustang out there. So we took a break with Swiffer, and I released her to the rabbits. There was a rabbit, she didn't even see it. Run! I love the little purple bells. The hollyhocks are blooming.
No, Swiffer.
She didn't go.
That way.
She's not supposed to run out of the yard.
Get over there.
But every year we get these stupid bugs that attack these hollyhocks. If you know what they are or how to kill them, we've tried the old Listerine method and different bug killers and whatever else, and it doesn't ever seem to work. Trying to find one of the actual bugs, but they look like a little elephant. And they make all these little individual dots on the plant until it individually kills it. I don't see any of the bugs right now, but I know they're there. These are very pretty hollyhocks. And they were just kind of came here by themselves, and I continued to throw the seeds in there, and they just grew up. Just another little bed. We've always got these little beds in our yard. Old beds.
And she is so excited about being out here. I think it's that bunny.
Just jacked.
Bunnies and birds.
Oh, I love the dragon birds. I love the dragon birds.
She goes crazy for dragonflies. Crazy.
And if it gets hot enough here, we get them.
This is our fireplace. We usually start up in the fall just to sit out here and relax when the mosquitoes are gone. They sprayed yesterday, so the mosquitoes aren't too bad right now.
I didn't hear them.
Mosquitoes or them spraying?
Them spraying. That's probably why we don't have many ticks left anymore too, which is good.
Okay, we gotta load up these 3 cars for the show tomorrow.
We're on our way to a show. There's a flashlight right here. There, we're on our way to a show, car show, and this is the first one for the year, probably the only one for the year that I'd imagine, because the one that we put on is canceled. And we just are so busy right now, but our friend is he's hosting, I guess, a show, Valley Cruisers. There's a cat right there. Valley Cruisers is a big car club in our area, and they're having it at his place, and look at where we're going. How perfect is that? Fordville. So when we get there, we brought 3 cars, just trailered them down, and we'll take some more video when we get there to unload. We made it, but I wanted to relax for an hour or two before we videoed. But I'll show you our little show here. And then there's a Tesla over there. See that?
Yeah, who's this little creature? Is that a little Pomeranian?
I'm just gonna do a quick walk through here. That's a 66 Mustang that's been totally customized, beautiful. I like that Ford, that's pretty. It's just a little intimate show, which is what we like anyway. Big shows are fun, but And if you want to see what's inside that building, you can go back to one of our videos where we told Clint about us being disfellowshipped, but he does a little show walkthrough through his all of his cars.
Don't want to ruin the picture.
Oh no, you're fine. That was Lowell, and this is his really beautiful GMC Candy.
Oh, you know what? She wanted to kill him about that. So I don't want to answer to YouTube.
But that showroom, we have a video all about that showroom. And then there's the Tesla. And Swiffer. There's Swiffer. And my Anglia brought it. Which you already know.
Tiffany on our first drag run. No, we're trying to load this up and we think she can sneak out of it once it's in the trailer. So her job is just to ride the brake while she puts her in there.
My foot is on right now.
Okay, go and put it here. One more. There you go, you're in.
Drive right
You're in drive. So now all you gotta do is watch Joel and I.
Yep.
I think we'll be alright, pal.
All right.
Whatever, something like that.
Go back to your left a little. You're fine. Nope, you're fine. Go ahead, nice and easy.
I'll let you guys eyeball it. Lots of them on that.
Okay, your back tires are about to hit. Your back tires are on. Yeah, push that a little to help it over that hump. Steer to your right a little bit, hon. Just a hair. We're clear. Tell us when.
Right there. That's about where it was. Go more. More. Right there. Get it in hard. You beautiful girl, you. Oh, can you find that master switch? I'll show her it is. This one's not working, so. Is the master switch off?
No, it's on.
No.
Okay, so
Can I shut this
Shut the
off?
key
you're gonna be
off,
able,
yep.
you see,
Now, Sean, you can put your hand up against the wall so that when she opens that door.
there's a switch. I can't quite reach it, but it's up
See, we
inside
got
there.
this.
Just watch it. I'm gonna hold my hand here and open the door. And you go ahead. Way down there. Yep. Step on there. Yep. You can go ahead and put a little bit of pressure against that door if you need to help get out, because you can crush my fingers a little if you need.
I remember like Casey, I think it's the one he had. That was nice. I love that one. That thing, yeah, that paint job on that thing was unbelievable.
Okay. Go ahead. I don't want to let my hand out from here. Go ahead and try and stand up.
I'm good.
Okay. Can you close the door? There you go.
Beautiful woman, Stephanie. What would I do without
Tiffany, like the diamond.
Sorry.
Good job, love. Good job.
We're getting ready to leave now. We're all loaded up again. I don't know how long we'll stay. It's not a big deal if we stay a while, I guess. I'm not sure what the plan is, but we're gonna just stop now. But everybody's gone. I'm glad I took video when I did, because shortly after that it was over.
I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain coming down on a sunny day? Yes, yes we have.
I think we're gonna start again on this job. We had several days of rain and just needed to recover, and it wasn't really pressing at this point. It's still not pressing, we just want to get it done. But Chad built his little step up there so that way he could get to the turrets. He built that yesterday. I don't know if he videoed as he was building it. It was so hot and miserable, I doubt it. So now we're just gonna start on those turrets and then see how long that takes. I'm waiting for my pressure washer to come in the mail, so that way we could blast all the old paint off with the pressure washer. And I should have mowed my grass here because it's really too long. Especially when you start cleaning up things. You start finding little nails and staples and little pieces of paper and shingles, and it's hard when it's long. But it was like, with the humidity, it was like 100 degrees. And in humidity, when you're not used to it, it's really miserable. We're supposed to be buying a new mower this weekend. So that way we can just get it all done quicker. But today is Sunday, and we're gonna start this for a little while. Anyway. There he is. I should probably get some gloves. Yeah? Okay, he is roped up and he's standing up there tearing off the front of that. I'll try to get up there from a different angle, but it's not comfortable. I'm not comfortable, he's not comfortable, but at least he probably won't die because he's got a rope on. If he falls, he'll just hang there like a spider. Pretty far up there. I think it's almost 40 feet. Probably more than 40 feet, because I think it's 30 feet to this peak, or this roof line. And I don't know, it's probably 12 or 15 more feet when you get to those turrets. That's really up there.
Very slow going up here because there are so many staples in the top. And I can't reach around the back side. And I really don't feel like standing on that top rung.
Okay. This is not fun.
And it seems like it's pretty stable, but I don't trust it yet. My little contraption.
Yeah. I wouldn't trust it at all. But this is what he built. It was just this step that he built. And it's just all screwed together instead of nailed together. Hopefully it gives it a little bit more bite to the roof, so it doesn't just fall out from under him. Yeah. Back up here.
Huh?
He got the front tore off, and he tore got the cap sitting right here so we can fix it. And then he'll finish the, what he's sitting on, the ridge and the the rest of this turret section. What do you call this? It's not really the turret, but it's not really the roof either.
It's kind of a dormer.
Like a dormer. Yeah, that's the word, dormer. But then he has this side too, but he said it was a lot more comfortable to get on this side and sit on the top than it is sitting or standing and having your legs hyperextended on the steps. Okay, I made it back down to the ground. I just brought this topper with me, and poor thing. The thing is old. I mean, it's 100 years or more old. It needs some work, but I think it's so thin. The metal is so thin, I don't think Chad's going to be able to weld this. So he's just going to have to goop it together, I guess, and paint it. That's how it goes. Anyway, I'm going to paint that. I'm going to go back up and help him. Take a little more video down below on the roof. So now I'm 30 feet up again. I'm gonna take a little leg break. This is how it's coming off though, little chunks. How are you doing? Great. He'll get both of those sides off. He'll get both those sides off, and then we'll...
How many do I have over here?
Right
Is this the only piece?
There's one in the front too. Okay, I'm gonna shut this off.
Is that it?
No.
I don't know if this will work fastest or it'll be faster to do it by hand, but because all it needs to do is be scuffed.
Did you get your finger?
No, it's just itching from that wound I had.
Oh. So you're gonna sand it all down with what are you using?
I think it's 120. Problem is it doesn't really get into the grooves very well. All it needs to do is be scuffed.
Would it be better to have a stronger grit?
No. And reality is, you'll probably be doing this.
Yeah, I imagine.
The only thing a good DA is for taking off this rubber or anything like that. We need to get rid of.
Well, I just figured that
Or even do
We
we
were
have any
gonna-
red Scotch Brite?
we might have that. We're gonna do one turret, complete one whole turret, and then move on to the next turret, correct?
Yeah.
Because that way we're not moving that ladder around, or that built thing, whatever you call it. Yeah, I'll go look for Scotch Brite.
Yeah, this